Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's second video, which is going to take us into the second half of April. So we'll also be able to extend out beyond that a little bit with the ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks, and also the extended GFS runs to around a couple of weeks. Of course, that takes us into Easter now, and Easter updates will begin at Gas Office tomorrow. I'll have a look at CFSV to the end of the video for the next month, as usual. Quite late with the video. I've been to a birthday party this afternoon, but managed to get back in time to bring your second video update to you. So we'll get on with it. We're going to begin by having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF here on the top. The GFS, which I'll look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is there in the atmosphere, where high pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. These are the mean flow charts for the next week to 10 days, taking us into the second half of April. Got to remember to say April, because apparently in yesterday's video I said March a couple of times. So see if I can remember to say April for this one. So the ECMWF is placing a trough or a ridge of above average heights to the south of the country, with a trough of below average heights to the west in the middle of the Atlantic. The jet stream is going through something like that. So we're reverting to a more typical pattern there, a more Atlantic-driven westerly pattern with high pressure to our south, low pressure out to the northwest. That's bringing the wind up from a southwesterly direction. So probably quite changeable in the north and west, relatively dry in the south and the southeast, and milder as well. The winds will be pushing in from a southwesterly direction. This is how the GFS is looking, and if anything, it's making more of that ridge actually. So we've got a ridge of high pressure there sitting to our north and to our east, but also through the UK and down to our south. So quite a lot of high pressure through the west of Europe there, with low pressure as this pretty deep trough in the middle of the Atlantic. Leaves the flow and the jet going something a little bit like that. So again, the upshot is we're building up the heights, and it will be settling things down as we move into the middle part of April, and probably turning relatively mild, maybe even a little bit on the warm side with that one. GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks looking like this. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. You're at London today. Temperature's going to be on the rise over the next few days. It's going to get milder through to the start of next week anyway. Then temperatures will probably lower through the middle part of the week into the second half of next week. Bit of a cooling trend taking place. Then some of those ensemble members are going really quite cold indeed, but not all of them actually. So we miss this cold snap in the second half of next week. Bit of uncertainty about it actually. I'd say some of those ensemble members are down there between -5, -10 at 850 HPA. They're quite cold, but these ones up here are a milder solution. It does look as though it will be cooling down at the very least through the middle and second half of next week, with potential, but it could go quite cold. Beyond that though, as we go into the middle part of April and then on in the second half of the month, looking relatively mild really, with temperatures lifting back up close to average. Precipitation wise, so we have got quite a bit of rain coming up actually next week. Done weekend forecast already, of course, today. That's released nice and early today. And we are suggesting we're going to some heavy showers, maybe some thundery rain down across parts of England and Wales on Monday and Tuesday. So that'll be something to watch out for. You might hear some rumbles of thunder Monday and Tuesday down in the south, and that's indicated by these precipitation spikes just here. After that, so we're going to a bit of a drying trend as it turns colder, but then as it starts to get milder again around the middle part of April into the second half of the month, the precipitation spikes are coming back once again. So it looks like it turns quite unsettled into the second half of April. Temperature anomalies from the 6th through to the 14th of April are a little bit colder than average, not just for the UK and Ireland, but for most parts of Western Europe actually. Scandinavia is coming out cold on average. France, Spain, Portugal, a little bit colder than average as well. There, the warmer than average temperature anomalies are in this eastern and southeastern corner of Europe. Precipitation-wise, many northern parts of Britain and northern Europe drier than average. Further south, across England and Wales, a little bit wetter than average there. That's mainly down to those heavy showers and thundery outbreaks of rain on Monday and Tuesday. That's how the GFS 6 o'clock run is looking for Tuesday. And it's bringing in an easterly wind. We've got high pressure blocking things out to our north from Scandinavia to Greenland. And we're pulling in this east wind. And it's this little system just here, elongation in the isobars, that could provide the energy for some big downpours, some heavy showers, and maybe some thundery rain Monday through to Tuesday down in the south. That gets out of the way as we go through the middle part of next week with this high pressure building firmly over Scandinavia and pulling the wind into the east or the northeast. Those northeasts, if you follow the isobars back, the air is originating from up here, and so that could start to push colder air towards us in the second half of the coming week. Into next weekend, that high pressure is maintained over Scandinavia, but low pressure is trying to head in from off the Atlantic, and now the winds begin to shift back round to the southeast once again. So it's getting milder through the course of next weekend. High pressure is still there to our east, but with low pressure out to the west, we're starting to pull up much milder southerly winds. So temperature probably returning back to average next weekend. But as we go to the following week, running up to day 10, actually it is turning quite a lot milder then. The Atlantic's breaking through. The winds are coming up from the south and southwest, so it's a lot milder as we go into the second half of April. Still looking quite unsettled though. As we go to the Easter weekend, actually we move this low pressure into the North Sea and start to pull down some colder air from the north once again. So the Easter weekend looking a little bit changeable on this particular GFS run. As I say, Easter updates will begin at Gauss tomorrow. This is how the GFS parallel run is looking. Again, blocked to our north, bringing in these easterly winds early next week with heavy showers or longer spells of rain down in the south. Driest weather will be in the north. Those east and northeast winds are maintained into next weekend. And we keep that high pressure sitting just to our east-northeast, even into the following week. So less of the influence from southerly winds with this up to the middle part of April. And so this is a rather cooler scenario up to day 10 compared to the GFS operational run. In the more extended range, the high pressure eventually begins to move southwards. So it does turn a lot milder as we get through to Easter, as far as we can go, Monday 22nd of April, which is Easter Monday, and the high pressure then is slipping down over the UK, and we're pulling in pretty warm air from the middle of the Atlantic. So that was turning a lot milder for Easter. In fact, you'd say it's turning warmer, with temperatures lifting into the mid to upper teens Celsius. ECMWF, again, we've got that block on Tuesday and then into Wednesday and Thursday. The high pressure is still there to our east or northeast. We're getting rid of these low pressures to the south, so the risk of heavy showers, thundery rain moves away to the south, but it looks like it could be quite cold in the second half of the coming week. Next weekend re-establishes milder winds from the southwest. Here they come, pumping up across the country. So that's lifting temperatures back up into mid-teens Celsius probably as we get through towards day 10. Albeit it's still quite unsettled with low pressure out to the north and west, bringing showers or longer spells of rain. That's how we look at day 10, which is Tuesday, the 16th of April. Low pressure bringing unsettled conditions, but it is relatively mild with the wind coming in off the Atlantic. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM ensembles today at day 10, which is the 16th of April, via the Icelandic Met Office. So these are the postage stamps from the Atlantic Met Office based on the ECMWF ensembles. We've got 28 members of the ECM ensembles at day 10 with low pressure to the north and to the west of the country and high pressure down to our south. We're bringing in a west-southwesterly wind, so rather unsettled but generally quite mild with those ones. And it includes the control and operational ECM as well. Then we got 23 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure sitting to our east. Low pressure is out to west. That's a drier option, but it's still quite mild, maybe fairly warm actually, with the wind coming up from a southerly type direction, or southwesterly anyway. So it does look as though by the time we get through to day 10, we're losing the northern blocking that we're going to have in the coming days, and we're reverting to a much milder sort of southerly southwesterly flow. In 2 weeks' time, means that the options are on the table. Again, this is at 360 hours. It's the 21st of April. 14 members of the ECM ensembles, including the ECM control run, have low pressure close to the country. It's taking us into the Easter weekend as well, of course. Low pressure to our north and bringing in a westerly flow. So they're relatively mild, but they're quite unsettled. Then there's 13 that have high pressure over and to the southwest of the country. So they're a drier but pretty mild, maybe even fairly warm option. There's another 13 that have high pressure centered almost over the top of the country. So again, mainly dry and quite warm. And then there's 11 with high pressure just out to the northwest. Low pressure is to the east, and a bit cool and unsettled with those ones. So bit of a split actually by the time you get through to Easter, whether we're facing an unsettled Easter, although relatively mild, or whether we're facing a dry and mild, maybe even quite warm Easter. Easter updates will begin at Gas Office tomorrow. Finally, just have a look at CFSV2 for the next month. So these are 500 millibar heights, break it down into weekly periods. The first weekly period will take us from the 6th through to the 12th of April. The coming week has above average heights, high pressure to our north, below average heights, low pressure out to the west. We're bringing in easterly winds, so reasonably dry for the north, a little bit more unsettled down in the south with risk of thundery rain and temperatures becoming cooler. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 13th to the 19th of April, with high pressure building through the UK and heading northwards as well. So obviously that's settling down and warming up. We're beginning to pull up winds from a southwesterly to southerly direction with that one. Week 3 is the 20th to the 26th of April, with below average heights out towards Greenland and Iceland, above average heights down to our southwest, maybe a little bit more unsettled with that one, particularly so for northern parts of the country, still relatively mild. And then week 4 is the 27th of April to the 3rd of May, with below average heights out towards Greenland and Iceland, above average heights down to our south, and bringing in a flat west or southwesterly flow. Generally a fair amount of dry weather for the south, bit more unsettled up in the north, and relatively mild conditions too with that one. Right, so that's brought you up to date with your week to 10-day video update, and it looks as though next week will be dominated by high pressure blocking things out to the north. Could be some thundery rain early next week in the south, and it turns drier and colder for a time through the middle part of next week. But I think by the time you get through to this time next week, by next weekend, we're probably turning things milder again. And the trend as go through to the following week, heading up towards the middle part of April, looks as though it's turning rather milder. And maybe quite pleasant, actually, with high pressure never too far away from the south anyway. Right, so that's it for today's videos. Tomorrow, very interesting day. We'll start off with some more autumn analogues. And, of course, as well, tomorrow, you're going to have Gaz of his sunny roundup, as usual. And, as I say, autumn, not autumn, what am I talking about? Easter updates will begin at Gav's Weather Vids tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. So, keep checking back for those. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.